It's the Rebel Yell podcast on the Trib Live High School Sports Network, now on Spotify. Don Rebel with you. Welcome to Week 7. Week 7 gets started early, by the way, this week. We'll talk about that in a moment. But heading into the final 3 weeks, and it's so in this new world order of WPIAL board steering committee, I guess I should say, not board of control, steering committee power of selecting various wild cards in 5 of the 6 classifications, becomes a little harder to figure things out as far as clinchings are concerned, but we, as always, will give it our best shot. Coming into Week 7, I believe there are 4. I got 6 teams that have already punched their ticket to ride in November. Central Catholic in 6A, Pine Richland in 5A, South Allegheny and Seat LaSalle in 2A, Fort Cherry and Jefferson Morgan in Class A. A lot more to follow with 3 weeks of football still remaining. By the way, can we make a decision? Can we get a decision from the district on these 3 games that are in limbo? Not so much the Shady Side Academy Clareton game because that was non-conference. Probably not going to be played. Other 2 games probably won't be played either. They were conference games. The Springdale postponing their game against Leechburg, Rochester postponing their games against Neshannock. I mean, I'd be stunned at this point if we get word that one of those games, if not both, are going to be played at some point. When are you going to play them? That's the whole problem with it. So can we at least make these games now forfeits, and so we can officially update the standings to make it easier now that we are in playoff season or counting down toward playoff season? Can we do that, District 7, please? That's my request to you. All right. I mentioned early start to Week 7. A little Thursday night football at Carnegie Mellon University. The first place Central Catholic Vikings in Class 6A taking on the Norwin Knights, coming off a big victory over rival Hempfield last week that has them at 2-1 in Class 6A, 5-2 overall. If the playoffs were to begin right now, Norwin would be part of the 6A postseason. That game is 8 p.m. Thursday night at Carnegie Mellon University. A good test for Norwin. Remember, they gave North Allegheny a scare a few weeks ago. They won their other 2 6A games. So can they hang with the defending champs? We'll find out Thursday night, Norwin Central Catholic. On Friday, Cannon McMillan heads to North Allegheny. The Big Macs have never, ever, ever defeated the Tigers. Both teams with only 1 loss. NA at 3-1 in 6A games. Cannon Mac, after come from behind victory over Seneca Valley last week, sits at 2-1. Hempfield trying to rebound following that loss to Norwin. They are home to Seneca Valley Raiders, just in search of their first Class 6A win. They are 0-3. Spartans are 1-3. And Mount Lebanon, also 1-3, has a non-conference game. They are hosting the Penn Hills Indians out of the 5A Northeast Conference. Penn Hills is 2-5 in the season, but they are 2-1 in the Northeast Conference. Speaking of the Northeast Conference, big game at Martirelli Stadium on Friday on the network. It'll be the Shaler Titans at 1-1 against the North Hills Indians at 2-1. Overall records, ignore them because they are a combined 3-11, the Titans and the Indians. But in the thick of things, as far as a playoff chase in the Northeast Conference, 2 teams looking for their first conference victory meet at Fox Chapel. The Foxes home to Plum, both teams 0-3 in the NEC. They're both 2-5 overall. Allegheny 6 Conference, undefeated Peters Township on the road. They are at South Fayette. The Lions licking their wounds, or paws, if you will, after a loss a big loss at Upper St. Clair last week. Speaking of the Panthers, trying to make it 2 in a row after they lost their conference opener to Peters Township 2 weeks ago. They are home to Bethel Park. Both teams combined 11-3 overall. Both are 1-1 in conference play, so a big one between South Hill's neighbors, Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair. Moon looks to go to 2-1. They are home to winless Baldwin. Big East Conference. Woodland Hills, fantastic fourth quarter in their big showdown victory at Armstrong last week. 5-point lead after 3 quarters. They blew the doors off the Riverhawks, outscoring them 31-0 in the fourth quarter. Woodland Hills at Gateway. Gators coming off back-to-back losses to Armstrong and to Penn Trafford. Competed in both, but lost both. Gateway now 2-2 in the conference. Penn Trafford at 2-1 visits Franklin Regional. Panthers haven't won a Big East Conference game, but they did win their first game last week, knocking off Fox Chapel. And Armstrong tries to bounce back after that loss to Woodland Hills. They are at Kiski area. The Cavaliers surging a bit. They are now 2-2 in Big East Conference play. 5A non-conference, Pine Richland, number 1 in the Trib HSSN 5A rankings, 6-1 overall, 4-0 in the atop the Northeast Conference, and as I mentioned, have already clinched a 5A playoff berth. They are at Latrobe. Wildcats struggling at 1-3 in the Big East Conference. Class 4A, Big Six Conference. Who would have thought this is the game for the conference lead and to be the team that everyone else is chasing over the stretch run of the season? Chartiers Valley at Trinity. The Colts, an amazing story. Coach Spence, 6-1 in his first year. Overall, they're 2-0 in the conference. Trinity 2-0, 3-4 overall. Hillers coming off the big victory over Thomas Jefferson last week. Char Valley at Trinity for first place. A pair of 1-1 teams meet at Thomas Jefferson. The Jaguars hosting the Ringgold Rams, and the 2 conference teams that have yet to win, Bell Vernon and Laurel Highlands, meet in Fayette County. Both are 0-2. Parkway Conference, everybody looking up at Newcastle. The Red Hurricanes, yes, they get their S. 2-0, alone in first place in the Parkway Conference. Coming off victories over Aliquippa and Montour, both of those at Taggart Stadium in Newcastle. A third straight home game as Newcastle hosts West Allegheny. The Indians are 1-1 in the conference. That's the record of both Blackhawk and Aliquippa. Those 2 teams meet at Heinz Field at Aliquippa on Friday. And Montour also 1-1. Spartans hosting winless Ambridge. Winless in conference play at 0-2. Bridgers are 1-6 overall. Great matchup in the Greater Allegheny Conference for first place. Mars at McKeesport. Both teams are at 2-0. Fighting Planets have quietly won 6 of their 7 games. Keemon Spell back for McKeesport, difference maker. They are 4-3. Indiana at 1-1 visits 0-2 West Mifflin. Titans did give McKeesport a battle, though, last week. And winless Knock visits Hampton. The Talbots are 1-1 in the GAC. 3A now, Western Hills Conference. These are all Friday night. Avonworth at McGuffey. It's undefeated against winless. It's hide the women and children possible matchup in Washington County on Friday night. North Catholic at Beaver, good one. The Trojans and Bobcats both sitting at 2-1 in conference play. Central Valley now 3-1 in the conference. Big win over North Catholic last week. Warriors hosting 0-3 Quaker Valley. Allegheny 7 Conference, no longer 2 undefeated teams, just one. That's Imani Christian. The Saints go marching off to Deer Lakes on Friday to take on the Lancers, who have dropped 6 consecutive games. Highlands, fresh off their win over Freeport last week, handing the Yellow Jackets their first loss. The Golden Rams at 3-1 visit the Borough Buccaneers, who sit at 2-1. Big one in the AK Valley. East Allegheny at 1-3 hosts winless Valley. Interstate Conference battle for first place. Mount Pleasant at Southmoreland. Both the Vikings and Scotties are 2-0 in conference play. Mount Pleasant 5-2 overall. Southmoreland remains perfect at 7-0. Also 2-0 in the conference, lest we forget, the Elizabeth Forward Warriors, 6-1 on the season. They are at 0-2 York, and a pair of 0-2 teams meet in Greensburg, Derry at Greensburg, Salem. 3A non-conference, 5-2 Hopewell visits 6-1 Freeport. That one came last week. The Yellow Jackets losing to Highlands. 2A non-conference. This game will be Saturday late afternoon, a rare 4 p.m. start at Dormont Stadium. Shady Side Academy visiting Seton LaSalle. The Rebels a perfect 4-0 in the Century Conference. Bulldogs slipping to 1-3 in the Allegheny Conference. 2A conference games, Western Beaver alone atop the Midwestern Athletic Conference. Perfect 7-0 in the season. The Golden Beavers visit the Mohawk Warriors at 1-3. 3-1 Riverside visiting rival 2-2 Elwood City on Friday night. Beaver Falls now at 3-1. They lost their first 4 games, had that long losing streak, which included a winless 2024 season, snapped, and they've now won 3 straight. They are at New Brighton. The Lions sit at 2-2. And Union, still searching for their first conference victory, visits 1-3 Freedom. Century Conference in Class 2A, Washington pummeled Keystone Oaks last week in a battle for first place. The 3-0 Little Prexies this week visit the 1-2 Charleroi Cougars. Waynesburg Central at 1-2 visits Dormont Stadium to take on the 3-1 Golden Eagles of Keystone Oaks. And a pair of winless teams in conference play meet. In McKees Rocks, it's Stowe Rocks hosting Charleroi. Allegheny Conference in Class 2A, Apollo Ridge is at South Allegheny. That is a battle for first place. The Vikings are Week 6 WPIAL Trib HSSN Team of the Week. 3-0. Big victory last week over Steel Valley at home. Now they got to go to Glassport. Homecoming at South Allegheny High School. Undefeated Gladiators, 4-0 in the Allegheny Conference. They are 7-0 overall. South Park, they won their first 3 as defending champs. They have now lost 4 consecutive games. The Eagles will be at Ligonier Valley. Rams won their first game of the season last week. It was non-conference. They're 0-3 in conference play. So this is a battle of 0-3 teams at Ligonier Valley. Steel Valley at 2-1 tries to bounce back. They will be taking on Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. That is also a Saturday game, 7 o'clock kick at Moon High School. By the way, I said Washington against Charleroi on Friday night. And then I mentioned that Stowe Rocks, Charleroi, it's Stowe Rocks and Carleton, just in case I made that mistake. Carleton against Stowe Rocks on Friday. In the Century Conference, now to Class A's Black Hills Conference. Big one in McDonald, the Fort Cherry Rangers. Undefeated, 4-0, 7-0 in the season, ranked number 1 in Class A, hosting the Bishop Canavan Crusaders. A little bit of a rough start for the Crusaders. Out of section, they're 3-0 in the Black Hills, 5-2 overall. This is the game that has really decided this conference over the last few years. And there have been some dandies between Bishop Canavan and Fort Cherry. At Fort Cherry, Friday night, the rivalry continues. Sarah Catholic is at Chartiers Houston. The Buccaneers sit at 2-2 in conference play. And Monessen travels to Burgettstown. Big 7 conference of Class A, big one at Neshannock, where Southside visits Neshannock. Both the Rams and Lancers sit atop the conference. The Rams with a 3-0 record. The Lancers, going back to the non-game against Rochester, sit at 2-0 in conference play. Laurel is also perfect in conference play. They're 3-0, 6-1 overall. They are at Shenango on Friday. And the Summit Academy will take on Northgate. Knights are 1-2. The Flames 0-4, 0-7. Not burning very bright here in the fall of 2025. Class A's Eastern Conference battle at Tyler Boyd Stadium. Clairton hosting Leechburg. The Bears, a perfect 4-0, 5-1 on the season since that Week 0 loss to Imani Christian. They've won 5 straight, all via shutout. Leechburg, 3-0 in the conference and 5-1. A little changing of the guard at Leechburg, but so their success may have surprised some, but they have really built something over this decade. So really not a shock that the Blue Devils are vying for the conference title. They're going to have their hands full Friday at Clairton. Riverview at 2-2, coming off a stinging loss to Brentwood last week, visits Fraser. The Commodores are 1-3. Speaking of Brentwood, the Spartans on the road at Jeanette. Key one here in that both the Spartans and Jayhawks sit at 2-2. Jeanette, a big victory over Greensburg Central Catholic a week ago. GCC, home to Springdale. Dynamos, I think everybody knows their story, struggling to finish out the season winless. The Centurions are 3-4 in the season, but 1-3 in conference play. Jefferson, Morgan, and California tied for the top spot in Class A's Tri-County South Conference. The Rockets are 4-0 in conference play, 7-0 on the road. Tough test as they visit the Bentworth Bearcats, who check in right behind the Rockets at 3-1, 5-2 for the season. Mentioned California, they are 4-0 in conference play, 6-1 overall. They are home to West Green on Friday. 3-1 Avella hosting Carmichael's. The Mighty Mikes yet to win in the TCS this season. And Mapletown also looking for their first conference victory on the road at 1-3 Beth Center. Non-conference Class A, Rochester visits Cornell. The Rams winless. The Raiders are 4-3. City League final week of the regular season. They'll have their semifinals next week. And for the regular season championship, Westinghouse will battle University Prep. Bulldogs 3-0, 6-1, coming off their first loss of the season. Fell to Carn City a week ago. University Prep 3-0. They are 4-2 on the season. So the winner of this game will be the first place team, first seed, top seed. Loser of this game will be finishing in second place and will host, all the games are at Couple Stadium, Alderdice in the semifinals, whereas the winner of this game will host Brashear in the other semifinal game next week. Thursday night at Couple Stadium, Perry closes out their season, still looking for their first win of the year. They will take on former City League rival. This is now a non-league game as Carrick plays an independent schedule. The Raiders are 2-4. The two other City League schools closing out their regular season on Friday. Alderdice at 4-3 will be taking on, they're home at Couple Stadium. It's an afternoon game. They'll be taking on the Butler Golden Tornado. Butler checks in with a record of 5-2. Brashear on the road Friday at 1-6 overall. They'll be taking on Red Bank Valley from District 9. The Bulldogs are 3-4. Albert Gallatin tries to continue their outstanding season, undefeated season. They're 7-0. Colonials are home to Hedgesville, West Virginia. The Eagles have yet to win a game this season. Connellsville is 1-6. They're on the road at University High School in West Virginia. Bronzeville on the road. They are taking on District 5 Myersdale. Falcons still looking for their first win in a while. And Uniontown hosting Northern Garrett of Maryland. Both those teams looking for their third win of the season. So weekend that starts with two games on Thursday, the Norwin at Central Catholic game and also Perry and Carrick. Continues on Friday, bunch of big WPIAL contests, and for the City League Championship, Westinghouse against University Prep, and then a couple of games to wrap things up on Saturday as well. Both games on Saturday are Class 2A matchups. So there you have it, Week 7. Check us out. We'll be coming with the pregame show, 6:45 on the network. 7 o'clock kickoffs, lots of games. Check out our website. Chris Lackner, filling in the blanks, has done a good job setting up all kind of big games around the district that you can check out. Almost all of them are video, but there are some audio gems if you want to go a little old school, or if you want to sit there like I do and just bounce from game to game on a Friday night. That's a good time. And then the scoreboard show. I understand it's a Friday night tradition in these parts. WPIAL scoreboard show. Hot rumor, by the way, you can check it out on YouTube this week. That's just between us. We begin at 9:30, go all the way to 11 o'clock. All the scores, recaps, and now we're in the situation the final 3 weeks where we're taking a peek at playoff scenarios as well. So all that coming up on what should be another fun and fantastic weather Friday night around southwestern Pennsylvania. Thanks to Chris Lackner for his help. I'm Don Rebel. We hope you enjoyed these podcasts. We love bringing it to you. Hopefully keeps you informed, keeps you entertained. Week 7 coming up here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.